All right, let's dive into something that is absolutely changing the game in AI right now. It's a technique called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or as everyone calls it, RAG. And trust me, it's all about making AI smarter, way more accurate, and just a whole lot more useful for all of us.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You ask this supposedly genius AI a question about something that happened, I don't know, last week, and it has no clue. Or worse, it just confidently makes something up. That's called a hallucination, and it's exactly the kind of problem that RAG is built to solve.
So, what is going on there? What's the deal? Well, it really all boils down to one fundamental issue, what we can call the knowledge gap.
Okay, so here's the absolute core of the problem. A large language model, an LLM, isn't constantly learning from the live internet. Nope. It's trained on a massive but totally static snapshot of data. That means its entire understanding of the world is basically frozen in time with a hard cutoff date. Anything after that, it just doesn't know.
The next logical thought is, well, why not just help it out? Why can't we just copy and paste the new article or the entire company handbook right into the prompt? I mean, it seems like a simple fix, doesn't it?
Yeah, turns out that approach falls apart, and it falls apart fast. First, cramming tons of text into a prompt gets really expensive and it slows the response time down to a crawl. But here's the fascinating part. Research shows that models actually get confused by super long prompts. Important details get buried and ignored if they're stuck in the middle. It's a real thing. They actually call it the lost in the middle problem. So, if we can't just brute force it by stuffing the prompt with info, what's the solution? Well, it's a much, much more elegant approach. Think of it like giving the AI a superpower, the ability to use an open book for any test it ever takes. And that is RAG. Instead of trying to retrain the entire model on new data or feeding it a giant, messy document, RAG is a system that goes out and finds only the most relevant bite-sized pieces of information and hands them to the LLM right when it needs them to answer your question. This is honestly the best way to think about it. It's perfect. You're not forcing the AI to memorize the entire world's library. You're just giving it the ability to look up the perfect cheat sheet at the exact moment it needs it. It gets an open book exam every single time. It's about resourcefulness, not just memorization.
Okay, so this whole open book idea sounds great. But how does it actually work? How does the magic happen? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the workflow.
It really boils down to a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, you have to prepare all your documents. That's called indexing. Then, when a question comes in, you find the right information. That's retrieval. And finally, you use that info to build the answer, and that's the generation part. So let's break each of those down. Step one is all about the prep work. You take your knowledge base, all your company's internal documents, product manuals, whatever, and you break it all down into smaller chunks. Each little piece is then converted into the special numerical format called an embedding. The best way to picture it is like creating a super fast, incredibly smart digital card catalog, where the actual meaning of the text is captured as numbers. Now, this is where it gets really, really cool. When you ask a question, your question also gets turned into one of those numerical embeddings. The system then zips over to that digital card catalog and finds the chunks of text whose numbers are the closest mathematical match to your question's numbers. It's like having a super librarian who can instantly find the exact paragraph you need from a library of millions of books. And for the final step, the system takes those perfect little snippets of text it just found and it combines them with your original question. This new augmented prompt is then sent to the LLM. So now, with these perfect open notes sitting right there in the prompt, the model can generate an answer that is way more accurate, totally up to date, and actually grounded in real, verifiable data.
Now, this isn't just some futuristic theory. RAG is already out there in the wild, making a huge difference. Let's look at where you're probably already using it without even realizing.
It's everywhere. Think about those helpful Q&A chatbots on websites that can actually give you specific answers about your account because they're looking at the company's private documents. Or how about search engines that don't just give you a list of links, but a direct synthesized answer at the top of the page? That's RAG. You're even seeing it in tools that can draft an accurate summary of a dense, 100-page report in seconds. So when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? Why does this all matter so much? Well, it means we finally get AI that gives us much smarter answers with a whole lot less guessing. This slide just lays it out perfectly. First, the big one.
Accuracy. Your answers are based on real, current data, not some old snapshot of the internet. That directly leads to the next point. It massively reduces hallucinations. You know, that thing where the AI just makes stuff up. It's also incredibly cost-effective. You don't need to do an expensive full model retrain. You just update a text file. And maybe my favorite part, verifiability. The AI can often cite its sources, telling you exactly which document it used, so a human can easily go and fact-check its work.
So if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. RAG is the bridge. It connects the incredible reasoning and language power of a giant LLM to a specific, real-time, custom set of information. It's like we've finally given the world's smartest brain a library card.
And that really leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing thought to chew on. RAG is a massive step towards that future. A future where an AI isn't just a chatbot, but a true knowledge partner that has instant access to, well, everything. So the question isn't if this is coming. The real question is, what are we all going to build with it?